Hello, I'm Gaia. Please come with me on a beautiful journey of discovery across an amazing continent. Islands of Wildness, the natural lands of North America, climate change and the language of landscape, by Jim Bones. Our biosphere. The biosphere is the narrow zone of our planet that harbors life. It includes the waters of the Earth, a fraction of its crust, and the lower region of the surrounding air. The biosphere is composed of ecosystems ranging in size from vast forests and stretches of tundra to small systems that occur, for example, in a pond. All ecosystems are influenced by the flow of energy and the movement of materials on a global scale. Earth scientists conceptually divide the world into broad biogeographic realms. Each realm is a mosaic created by variations in climate, topography, and the composition of regional soils. Thus there are distinct vegetational subdivisions dominated by plant species adapted to a particular set of conditions. These large, vegetational subdivisions, together with the animals and other organisms living there, are known as the biomes of each realm. Biomes include different types of deserts, shrublands, grasslands, forests, tundra, lakes, rivers and oceans. Within this thin shell of air, water, and surface land, all organisms are linked by the flow of energy on the stream of time. This is our home, the biosphere. It is all we have. We think of Earth as the water planet, but consider this. The large blue sphere on the left represents all of Earth's crustal water, salty and fresh, liquid and frozen gathered into one ball. The medium blue sphere represents all of Earth's fresh liquid water on the surface and in the ground. The smallest blue sphere represents all of Earth's fresh liquid water contained only in surface lakes and rivers. These are the land-based terrestrial biomes of the world. There are 14 basic global terrestrial biomes, and North America hosts 13 of these large vegetational habitat types. Tropical savannas, however, are absent. Here are the locations of the North American terrestrial biomes. Freshwater systems, mixed island systems, Arctic tundra systems, boreal needle-leaf forests, temperate rainforests, mixed temperate forests, wet tropical forests, dry tropical forests, dry chaparral woodlands, mixed mountain forests, mixed temperate grasslands, cold winter deserts, warm winter deserts. Now let's see what makes each biome unique. Freshwater systems. Water is the cradle of life and a microcosm of all life domains. Freshwater biomes include wet caves, springs, rivers, lakes, glaciers and all the creatures that inhabit them. Terrestrial aquatic systems are teeming with life of all kinds. Communities of protozoa, crustaceans, insects, spiders, fish, amphibians, reptiles, birds, mammals, vascular plants, lichens, algae, fungi, bacteria, and even archaea extremophiles. Water is the most vulnerable of all terrestrial environments, and the primary limiting factor in the growth of life. Most of the remaining, unpolluted fresh water on this planet is frozen in ice that is rapidly melting back into salty oceans. Mixed island systems. Islands can be of any shape, size or vegetation type, from cold Arctic tundras to hot tropical deserts. They can be rocky, sandy or both, sparsely to heavily vegetated, and provide dependable to tenuous habitats for all kinds of plant, animal and life allies. Because of their insular nature, islands are on the front line for the study of whole ecosystem disruptions and responses to changes in weather and rising sea levels. They are like the canaries of the biosphere. These biomes are the major natural provinces of North America, the native habitats large and small, all joined by the atmosphere and oceans to the whole world. Together they reveal the diverse character of the continent, from the tropics of Mexico to the tundras of Alaska and Canada. They are the kinds of places we recognize as being like the familiar landscapes of home. Arctic tundra systems, lichens, mosses, grasses, low-growing wildflowers, heath and willow shrubs hug wet and dry barrens devoid of trees that rim the windswept polar regions of the world, where hardy inhabitants pioneer the cold lean edge of existence. Life has occupied every viable niche, from ocean bottoms to cloud tops, hot springs to glaciers, forests to deserts. There is no vacant inhabitable space. That is a promoter's myth. Every place is already somebody's home, and has been for a very long time. Boreal evergreen forest systems. The Great Boreal needle-leaf forests, circumpolar in the northern hemisphere, contain between 1/4 and 1/3 of the planet's gross terrestrial biomass. They cover vast fragile areas of permafrost, and so play a major role in the production of peat moss and the natural sequester and release of global greenhouse gases. Though limited in diversity by extremely cold winters, they are home to fungi, lichens, mosses, grasses, vetches, lupins, bunchberry, heath, willows, aspens, alders, birch, fir, and spruce. The remaining islands of wildness are the last scattered relics of natural ancestral landscapes, and they provide continuity with the original pre-human world that actually produced the ways of living we practice today. Temperate rainforest systems. Rich coniferous forests form a band along the northwestern Pacific coast from Alaska to California that includes the tallest beings on Earth. Well-watered and nourished by cool fogs, they preserve a majestic trace of Pleistocene diversity, sheltering spruce, fir, pines, hemlock, redwoods, maple, alders, birch, rhododendron, ferns, mosses, lichens and fungi. Natural areas contain the only viable threads linking the old world that shaped us to this new synthetic age of our own making. Without regular contact with natural environments, however, we experience nature deficit, with negative consequences for us and the world. We evolved with wild places, and we cannot be human without them. Mixed temperate forest systems. Large mixed deciduous and evergreen forests occur only in 3 north temperate areas of the world: Eastern Asia, Central Europe and Eastern North America. A spectacular blaze of autumn leaf colors after frost, and swift spring greening of leaves, mark striking characteristic seasonal changes. These incredibly rich, multi-canopied forests contain, among others, oaks, maples, ash, elms, birch, beech, hickory, sweet gum, magnolias, tupelo, cypress, buckeye, rhododendron, azaleas, dogwood, spruce, southern pines, ferns, mosses, lichens, fungi, and wildflowers. We can manipulate, but we cannot create life, yet we are extinguishing species at a geologically unprecedented rate. Wet tropical forest systems. Moist tropical forests contain the greatest variety of living beings on the planet, including giant figs, tropical hardwoods, oaks, palms, podocarpus, shade shrubs, pines, cacti, bromeliads, ferns, fungi, mosses, lichens, orchids, and many other wildflowers and all those associated with them. A single rainforest tree may harbor more kinds of life forms than a whole temperate forest. The importance of tropical forests to the sources of great rivers, ocean health and worldwide weather, as well as to the resilience of life itself, places them at the forefront of triage for preservation. Since the beginning of the European conquest of North America's indigenous environments, the proportion of native to domestic land has shrunk to nearly none. The soil, the water, the air, all grow dirtier and there is no end in sight. Dry tropical forest systems. Due to a lack of abundant rain rather than freezing temperatures, some plants in these tropical forests are obligated to lose their leaves during the dry season. Many plants bloom at this time in preparation for the intense growth of the following rainy season. Oaks, figs, tropical hardwoods, acacias, cypress, deciduous chi-chi trees, shrubs, pines, ferns, bromeliads, mosses, lichens, grasses and wildflowers are typical. It is time to prepare for immense change and triage, and quit arguing about whether change is real, or if wealth and power buying the rights to pollute from poor people will solve the world's problems 100 years from now. Today ice is melting, oceans are rising, deserts are spreading, storms are intensifying. That cannot be denied. Dry chaparral woodland systems. Chaparral scrublands occupy dry regions having moist cool winters and dry hot summers. Manzanita, madrone, sumac, buckbrush, redbud, oak and pine woodlands form critical transitions between forests and grasslands along the foothills of the western Sierras. Limited rainfall occurs in the colder months and fire is a determining ecological factor. There is no understory, very little leaf litter, only scattered mounds of fire moss and occasional grasses, and thin soils that are subject to catastrophic erosion. When Columbus and his contemporaries arrived in North America, this was not a wilderness wonderland untouched by human hands. Native peoples had managed the environment, cut trees, planted crops, burned prairies and killed animals for tens of thousands of years, yet the continent remained largely intact. Unlike today, it was biologically whole, and resilient enough to integrate the effects of a smaller human population more keenly aware of natural systems, and with a very different ethical and spiritual view of nature. Mixed mountain forest systems. Montane forests include mixed evergreen communities of junipers, pines, firs, larch, spruce, Douglas firs, sequoia, and deciduous aspens, maples and oak trees, along with ferns, fungi, mosses, lichens, wildflowers, grasslands and alpine tundra. They are among the most complex living environments available and due to their altitudinal stratification often host several biomes, one above another. They give rise to continental rivers, shelter countless local habitats for beings found nowhere else, and provide cool island refuges above widening desert seas. Just as we cannot survive with big holes in ourselves, so the natural lands cannot survive fragmented, and with regional holes gouged in them. Today the situation is critical. All that remains of the pre-Columbian continental cover of life are pieces, scattered like islands of wildness in a spreading sea of human development. Mixed temperate grassland systems. Grasslands may appear simple, but are actually complicated fire ecology systems that include multiple grass species, 2 or more wildflower layers, mosses, lichens, fungi, and an invisible stratified root system rivaling a varied forest canopy. Among the most biologically productive of all living associations, they represent much of the soil wealth and microbial health of the civilized world. If the natural lands as we know them, and we along with them, are to survive the next century of inevitable growth, we need to reconnect the remaining islands of wildness, such as parks, wildlife refuges and open ranges, with ecological avenues called lifeways. These corridors can parallel existing power lines, highways, railroads, pipelines and waterways, so that natural areas will expand freely again and restore integrity and health to the land. Cold winter desert systems. Low precipitation characterizes vast desert regions of the world, where normal rainfall is below average. Even so, rugged desert dwellers have developed astounding adaptability to extreme temperatures and desiccation. Cold winter deserts host mostly salt-tolerant cacti, sage shrubs, thistles, grasses and resilient wildflowers capable of living in thin alkaline soils and surviving in frequent rainfall, high summer heat and freezing winter temperatures. We are each a part of nature and all of us share in the collective wisdom of life. Perhaps this will help us to discover how to continue in harmony even if all else fails. We learn to value what we love, and we love what we know. Ultimately we will protect whatever we value most, and that could be the living islands of wildness that remain for all of life's children, and for all of the foreseeable future. Warm winter desert systems. Subtropical latitudes 30 degrees from the equator show tendencies toward recurring drought as dry, continually descending air discourages rainfall and lush growth. However, these warm winter desert regions are filled with unique plant communities of cacti, agaves, yuccas, acacias, mesquite, sage, creosote bush, grasses, thistles, and abundant wildflowers, all adapted to extreme summer heat and thin alkaline soils. Although sparsely inhabited and often viewed as hostile, desert life may hold the best possibilities the world of tomorrow can offer. It is my hope you see here the unifying continuity of life, and recognize how one region blends into another, and perhaps most importantly, how your home fits within the larger landscapes of North America and the world. Out of this understanding a loving awareness may grow that we and the earth are one. These are North American biome changes viewed from 18,000 years ago to the present, repeated 3 times. North American biomes have migrated for thousands of years, just like plants, animals, and other life allies in response to the most recent ice-age glacial advances and retreats. Today biomes continue to shift away from the equator and toward the poles in an accelerating response to worldwide warming. Tundras are turning into forests, forests are turning into grasslands, and grasslands are turning into deserts. Even the seasons themselves seem to be turning upside down. What do you think causes recurring global climate change, and forces biomes to migrate? The primary factors affecting climate change and driving biome migrations are variations in the energy output of the Sun, and its orbital relation to the rotating, tilting, and revolving Earth, periodically compounded by solar winds, cosmic rays, celestial impacts, gases from volcanic and oceanic upheavals, and of course the incredible effects of living beings themselves. We have learned to see the Earth, our home, as a whole organism when viewed from space. It is paradoxically both tough and fragile, and because of its incredible diversity, it is also durable. Life itself maintains the atmosphere that sustains us. Countless tiny one-cell blue-green algae discovered photosynthesis over 2 billion years ago and transformed the early corrosive atmosphere with the oxygen we breathe today. They and many others are now threatened with suffocation as the oceans where they live become acidic from the increasing blanket of atmospheric carbon dioxide. Some things are not easily or quickly replaceable. Clean air and water in particular are two of them. Water is the greatest natural treasure on Earth. It is the unique universe that enfolds and holds life together, and we must respect it and protect it if we hope to survive. Global warming, climate change, carbon dioxide tax, license to pollute, end of civilization, species collapse, mass extinctions. Honestly, do not be deceived. We and the rest of life are partly made of carbon. Carbon is not the whole problem, not the only problem. Although it is a huge concern, it is one we can deal with. We have reached critical tipping points, thresholds over which global self-regulating energy systems are irreversibly passing, driven in part by exponentially increasing numbers of eager human consumers. So many people releasing carbon, releasing lots of other poisons in so many ways, destroying critical native habitat, in the air, on land, and in the oceans. So many uninformed people, that is the problem. It is a dead end to pursue pollution reduction without population stabilization, and that will have to be achieved by informed personal choice. Overcrowding and impoverishment of the natural world around us has led on the one hand to escapist dreams of Eden and wilderness utopias. On the other hand, it has simultaneously provoked pessimistic attitudes of consumption and destruction, and fostered species and racist bigotry. Fortunately, we have cultural rituals of renewal, seasonal celebrations, and art, to remind us of the truth. The images of art, song, dance and literature comprise the language of community accessible to all people. The essential inspiration for art throughout human existence has been, and continues to be, that local part of the earth we call home. A sense of pride in place endows people with a feeling of worth, and stimulates interest and determination to know and cooperate with the earth, rather than to subdue it. Our intuitive perception of beauty in nature is our direct personal awareness of the harmony and health expressed in the specific places where we live. The universal language of art can show the way to understanding across cultures without disagreement or discord. We may not each be able to understand the scientific facts and figures of ecology, but we can all see and feel the beauty or ugliness of the world around us, and learn to recognize the conditions of the lands we call home and strive to improve them. What can each one of us actually do right now to improve the situation? We can make people aware that we all have skin in this game. We can use less of everything and we can use everything longer. We can promote the basic idea of growing the quality of life instead of the quantity, and we can set about preserving civilization for our children and grandchildren, and a tolerable planet to live on. Who in their right mind would not act to save them? We can stop, think, observe, plan, simplify, triage, migrate, rehabilitate, adapt. We can plant seeds, grow plants, propagate habitats wisely, with native, not invasive plants. These are beneficial things we can all do right now. When it comes down to survival or extinction, that is an individual matter, so every organism is a critical player. The sum total of the laws of the universe, nothing less than everything, supreme being, creator, nature, God, it is all sacred and it is all you. No matter what your spiritual or religious beliefs, you need the earth to practice them. So learn to love the earth. It may be the only place in the universe where we can really be human. A fact that still makes it possible to salvage something worthwhile from this dark time is the incredible ability of humans to change their minds, and then to change the world around them when truth is realized and the need for collective action becomes obvious. We share nature's wisdom, and our task is to awaken awareness in everyone, not to give up. Join together now. Speak out for the light and the life, for the truth and the beauty, and the love that is all nature, and rejoice. The most important thing is to do the least harm, and find compassionate joy in the life you have right now. You are part of everything you see alive today, and related to the few who made it through all the previous great crises. Maybe one of yours will be lucky, and make it through this one too. Not everyone who hears this will listen, but those who do may find valuable contacts, information and shared ideas for a meaningful future at Wildness. Are us interested? See www.wildness.us.